Hello, guys. Welcome back to Cruising on Empty. This is late stream, I know, guys, but I just wanted to get this video out there. And basically, this video is basically on EV cars. Now, I'm not one of those people who actually believes in EV cars as like the savior of the cars because of the fossil fuel we have. I'm not one of those people. I know that there's a lot of people saying that the reason why the EV cars are here is because of global warming. I don't believe in global warming. I don't believe in that crap. I mean, listen, I believe in evolution. That's what I believe in. I believe that the earth at certain points in time, it evolves and it shifts, it changes, and that's what happens. Like Africa had a lot of the islands that are on the side of Africa used to be connected to Africa. There were other countries that were also connected as well. Over time, these countries broke away, okay, and they became separate, okay. Now, that is just the earth evolving and changing. Just like a lot of people say, oh, well, up north where all the ice is and the snow, it's starting to melt and blah, blah, blah. Listen, the earth is just evolving. It's just changing. I can't say what's going to happen later on in like 10 decades from now, maybe 2 decades from now. I don't know. I do know the earth is evolving and it is changing. So because of that, we just got to prepare ourselves for that. I don't think it causes for electric cars, which electric cars, I mean, even if, let's just say, for example, argument's sake, um, it is because of the fossil fuel. Reality is that the gas powered vehicles are not the ones using the most amount of fuel. The real offenders here would be the cargo ships, the trains that flying cargo up and down, and airplanes. Those three are the ones that use the most fossil fuel. Not a little car on the road or an SUV. It's the ships, it's the planes, it's the trains. They use large amounts of fuel and oil just to burn and run. Okay. So, with that being said, that's what we need to really think about is that. And just the electric cars themselves, I just think it's a bad idea, really bad idea. Like I said before in a few of my videos, I used to own body shops. And what I can say with the electric cars is when they get on fire, it becomes an issue. Now, there's all this people that are saying, "Oh, well, they go on fire, but it's not often." That's bullshit. I'm not buying that. There's somebody there that's really fudging the numbers and manipulating the numbers to the point where to make it seem like it's not even a lot. That's not true. It's not true. Because when you drive on the road, okay, there are chances that you will get into an accident. It doesn't matter if you're driving nice, there are other people on the road who will more than likely collide with your car. Now, owning a body shop, I can tell you this: if you get hit in the front, the side, or the back, if it's hard enough, okay, it will disturb the floor of the car. When you disturb that floor of the car, because I'll show you the picture so you can move along with what I'm saying. So when you disturb the floor of the car, as you can see in the pictures on the left and the right, the batteries are the length of the floor. When you disturb those batteries, you disturb the integrity of their charging and doing what they do in that tight configuration arrangement. Then you have the high possibility of thermal runoff because you're interrupting the whole cycle of these batteries. When thermal runoff happens, the car starts smoking, then there's a fire that starts, and then when the fire starts, you have when the fire starts, then you have this toxic fumes. These toxic fumes can basically start, and then when they start, if you inhale these toxic fumes, or if you get the fumes in your eye, forget about it. The toxic fumes will cause respiratory issue. The fumes will in your eyes will cause eye issues. Okay? So with that being said, it's just a bad car. Then you have the fluids from the battery dripping out. Those fluids as well are not good for the earth. They're toxic fluids. But then when the firefighters come to put these fires out, their water is mixing, okay? It's mixing with the water. The water is mixing with the fluids, I'm sorry. The water is mixing with the fluids from the battery. And then when that happens, okay, they have this runoff that's going into our water systems, is going into the water system, is going into the earth. So it becomes very toxic. Guys, can you give me 1 minute? I gotta step away for 1 minute. I'm sorry about that, guys. I had to step away for 1 minute, so I'm back now. So yeah, so like I was saying, so when that happens, you have this toxic fluid, toxic smoke that's filling the air, draining into the earth. Okay, so yeah, it's not bad for the environment directly, but indirectly, okay, it's bad for the environment because of those things that are happening to the earth, okay, with those batteries, okay. Not to mention when you got to go to a charging station and you got to charge those batteries up. These charging stations get their electricity from a power plant, right? These power plants, a lot of them, they run on coal power. So now you have a coal-powered power plant that's powering these power stations. Now, I'm not saying that all these power stations do it. I'm sure they have certain power stations that probably get their power from an environmental source. I'm pretty sure, but a majority of them are getting it from the power company. A lot of power companies still use coal. Now, not all of them, but a lot of them still do. Okay, with that being said, these firefighters are dumping anywhere between 3,000 to 10,000 gallons of water on these vehicles to put this fire out. Okay? You heard me. We heard what I said. 3,000 to 10,000 gallons of water to put these fires out. Okay? Once they're doing that, the fire can reignite again, and then reignite again, and then reignite again. Sometimes it reignites maybe a week afterwards. So what I'm saying is that, is it really better for the environment with the amount of water it's using? I mean, California proved it. I don't know why, when California is one of the states that is known for droughts. So your state's known for droughts, but you improved a car to be the number one car in your state and ban everything else because they're environmentally friendly? What? How is that? When everybody in the state of California, in certain parts there, they put restriction on them when you can't even use a certain amount of water in your own home. You can't use a certain amount of water. You can't water your grass. You can't go and fill up your pool. You can't go wash your car because it's a drought. But then you got a car there that takes over 10,000 gallons of water to put a fire out and then restarts multiple times. I mean, is it just me? I mean, am I crazy? I mean, I don't understand. I don't get it. So, I mean, I think about it and I say to myself, you know what? If this car is just not the car for us. I understand they're saying they want to come up with an environmental option, but it's not. I think this car is just here to pad somebody's pocket. I said what I said. I'm not going to go into details with it. You use your own critical thinking and come up with your own conclusion on that one. But that's what I think, because there's no way you're going to tell me this car is here because it is here to be environmentally friendly for the earth. No, I don't believe it. I'm sorry. Tell that lie, tell that bogus story to somebody else, not me. Okay, because I'm not the one. Okay, you have, and then we have other environmental options like biodiesel. Biodiesel basically is when you take used cooking oil, okay, use the oil that's used to fry, right, and then you refine it and wash it to the point where you can use it as diesel fuel in your vehicle. Now, granted, when you're doing that and you're processing it in your garage, you can only use that in a vehicle from like the mid 90s and older, because the diesel fuel that we have now has so many additives in it to run to run in these new model diesel vehicles, and the additives are supposed to make or help the diesel vehicles run cleaner. Whatever. Now, the same way automakers were able to adapt their cars to be hybrids to run gasoline and electric, the same way we can adapt these cars to run biodiesel. And the big companies that are in the market to produce it, like Hess and BP and Shell and all these big companies, they can do it because they're able to buy these chemicals in bulk and produce this biodiesel at a cheaper price, at a cheaper rate. Okay. Now I know you're gonna say, "Oh, but what about the employees? Got to get paid. Who got to pick it up? And the ones who have to mix the chemicals got to get paid, and they have to get paid. Somebody's got to be paid to distribute it to the fueling stations." And okay, I get that. I fully understand that. Because all I'm trying to say is that it makes no sense for you to process it and then charge us $4 to $5 per gallon for biodiesel, because then you're not going to want to make people change. And if you want to make people change, you have to price it at a cheaper rate. And it makes no sense to me how people are processing it in the garage and it's only costing them a few cents, maybe $1 per gallon to put it in their diesel vehicles. So if they can do it and they're just like some person in who knows, some small town who's doing it in their garage, why can't the big companies do it and say, you know, we can bring something cheaper to market instead of making it so expensive that it turns people off from even using it or even looking at it as a viable option? Why do that? We have the technology, it's there. I mean, with the amount of fast food restaurants that are out there, it's crazy. Matter of fact, I go into detail. If you look at the link on the bottom here and you just type that in your search bar, you will see the link, you see the video, and I go more into depth on the amount of fast food restaurants that are in America. You'll be surprised. So with that amount, there's no way we cannot use that. And there's never a shortage, because it seems like every other year there's multiple fast food restaurants that are opening. So we're gonna have an abundant supply of used oil, used cooking oil to use to fuel the cars. So the source is not even a problem. That's not even a problem, because usually every day or not every day, but usually every week they get rid of their oil and then change it out. Usually certain restaurants. So I mean, it's there. It's not like the corn. I understand that you have to have so many cornfields, process so much corn to make the what's it called, ethanol fuel for cars. I get that. But with the oil, I mean, with the amount of restaurants that we have in America, why can't it be an answer? I'm not going to say it's going to be our only answer, but it can be an answer. And I think it would be better than the electric cars, because electric cars have not proven to be really anything great, really. You know, they really haven't. And then we also have a guy, his name is Maxwell from Zimbabwe. He's invented a power source that works off of radio waves, okay, which can power a car and propel the car down the road. He's also invented a power source that can also be hooked onto the back of a TV that can power a TV without plugging it into the wall. And this guy is an African in Zimbabwe. His name is Maxwell. He invented this technology. Why can't we use that? There, if we use in that source of energy, we don't have to have batteries. Therefore, making the cars will be cheaper for consumers to buy because the EV cars now they're kind of pricey, you know. That way, when you're doing that, the car is lighter. That's number one. Number two, it's going to be cheaper to buy. Number three, you'll be able to get a longer range out of that not the EV car, but the car that he's making in Zimbabwe, where these cars do like 200, maybe 300-mile range before they have to get charged. And then that's another thing. When they got to get charged, you're sitting at the charging station for 20 minutes to sometimes 6 hours or more, depending on the charging station you're charging the car at. I mean, like, who wants to sit 6 hours or 20 minutes charging this stupid thing? I mean, like, really? You got nothing better to do in your day than sit at a fucking charging station all day charging this stupid thing? I mean, come on, dude. Let's be real. I mean, to me, it just sounds stupid. I can take any one of my cars, whether it's the Merc, whether it's the Beamer, Tahoe. I could take an H1 Hummer. I could take the Z 32 that I had, and I can go to the gas station. It'll take me about a minute, maybe two, depending on how fast that pump is. Fill it up, and I'm down the road. So if that's the case, why should I go with that? That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense, guys. Here's another picture. As I see, this is the length of the floor. Here is another picture of somebody who bought an electric powered car. They parked it in their garage or in the house. Well, one in the bottom is in the garage. The other one is the person parked in the front of the house. Now, the picture in the bottom, the car was in their garage, their electric car, and we just went into thermal meltdown, and it just set fire in the garage. The fire was so bad it damaged the house. It cost $235,000 in damage to the house. Now you tell me, if you're spending $70,000 to $80,000 on this car, yes, you got payments to make in this car. Now this car ruins your home that you live in with your family. And now you got to come out of pocket, or the insurance company's got to pay it. And you're paying $235,000 to fix this house now. I mean, come on, bro. To me, it's just simple mathematics. Like, anybody can see that this car is not worth it. It's just not worth it. The technology is a fucking fugazi. It just doesn't work. The technology, not at all. It just doesn't work. You know. And me personally, I would not want this car at any one of my properties. I wouldn't want it parked at any one of my homes or near any one of my cars that I own. Not at all. This thing is terrible. Absolutely terrible. The car is very unstable because you don't know when that car is actually going to explode. You don't know when the car is going to catch fire. You don't know when it's going to start smoking. You don't know. It's just one of those, roll of dice. You just don't know if it's gonna land on a 6 or 2 or 3 or 4. You don't know. And to own a car like that, which you don't know if your car is going to be the one that's going to catch on fire and blow up, or if your neighbor's car is going to be the one to catch on fire and blow up. It's just a mystery with this car. It's just a mystery. And I don't want to be in my home and have this car in my driveway or in my garage, and then one day it just decides to say, you know what, I'm going to catch on fire and blow up. I would hate that. I worked very hard to get my property and what I've got for this stupid car to be sitting on my property and then decide to say I'm gonna catch on fire and blow up. I'm sorry. I just don't see the use of that car anywhere near me or my properties. Now, those people who decided to buy this car and own it, God bless you, because you apparently didn't do your due diligence and you didn't do your research. Had you done your research, you would have seen that this car is not a good option. You got starstruck when they started dangling those shiny keys in your face. You know, dance monkey dance. You say, oh yeah, I want this. That sounds nice, but you didn't look into anything. You didn't look into the pros and cons of the car. I'm gonna say it again. When I buy a car, I look at every car that I buy, no matter what it is, as a job interview. You go to a job interview, right? And you give that person your resume. He or she looks over your resume, and they're gonna see if you're a viable candidate. They're gonna see what you did wrong, what maybe you did good, what your strengths are, so on and so forth. If you have a good resume, you get the job. You have a poor resume, try again somewhere else. And that's how I look at a car. I don't look at a car based on it being new or based on how many fancy things it has in it. Don't buy cars like that, because it's a surefire way that you will fail and you will buy a lemon. Now, a lot of the cars that I usually buy are usually maybe older models, which have a proven track record just to be reliable. And if a car is new, I personally like to wait to see what that car is going to do. I don't want to be the guinea pig to be the first one to buy it, and then find out, a year down the road or a few months down the road that guess what, this car is a piece of shit. I'm not going to be the guinea pig. I'm not going to be, your pawn. Sorry, you could pick somebody else to do that, not me, not me. And that's just my feeling on the electric cars. I don't feel comfortable with them. I don't think it's a good move. I don't think it's a good decision. Now, again, this is only my opinion and only my opinion. Okay, you are free to make your decision and spend your money how you choose. But all I'm saying is that it would be best if you do your research first on these EV cars before you make a purchase. Especially if you own a home, do your research. If you live in an apartment, do your research. Because I know you would hate to be to go home and figure out that guess what, your car needs to be charged, and you got to sit there for 6 hours, or 4 hours, or 40 minutes, 20 minutes charging this stupid thing like you got nothing to do all day, but then sit there and charge this stupid car. Because not everybody owns a home. You got a lot of people that live in apartments. And then the lucky few that can afford to own home and apartments and townhouses, those are lucky few people who have the option to choose what they do. But the ones that don't have that choice, I mean, what about them? What do? They camp out for the night at the charging station to charge that stupid car? Come on, man. It's not a good idea. Really not a good idea. Let's see if I covered everything. Oh, maintenance. So now, we're granted the maintenance. You don't have to do maintenance in the car because it doesn't have any spark plugs. You don't have to do oil changes, so on and so forth, right? But I do have a buddy of mine who bought one of those a few years ago, and he had a problem, an issue with the car charging. Okay, I'm not gonna say what brand it is. I'm not gonna say who it was. I'm just gonna say it was a friend of mine. He had an electric car, and it had an issue charging. He took it to the dealership, and they said he had to replace the battery, the one that's on the floor. They told him it cost $20,000. Yes, you heard me correct. $20,000. Okay, to replace that battery in the floor. That, to me, that is asinine. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. In what way this car is better? Buddy, I'd rather have a regular car and pay for my oil changes and pay for my spark plugs and coil packs and glow plugs and whatever else. I'd rather do that than pay 20. I mean, listen, I can buy another car for $20,000. I mean, seriously? Nah, man. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Okay? Well, that's just my opinion on it. And I said my piece, and I will bid you guys adieu. And I see you guys next time in the next video. Peace. See you when I see you.